Welcome to the Lowcountry Revolutionaries, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of Charleston, South Carolina's vibrant entrepreneurial scene. I'm your host, Bill Bellott, founder of Veritas Exoscience, and each week we're spotlighting the boldest innovators from the Chucktown startup community. These are the visionaries pouring their heart and soul into the businesses that are transferring Charleston into a global hub of creativity and American ingenuity. Get ready for raw, real conversations with the trailblazers shaping our city's future. Let's dive in. I would like to welcome Lesesne Phillips, a SHCRM-certified senior certified professional and two-time business owner and the founder of Opsana HR, an experienced human resources and organizational development leader with over 20 years of progress experience in multiple industries nationwide. Welcome, Lesesne. How you doing?
Bill, thank you. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. It's a wonderful day here in the low country. Beautiful weather. We're starting to cool down, so you can't ask for much more right now.
It's about as pretty as fall can get for the low country, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I see, you do HR, but you're running an HR company. How does that work? Because I've only heard of like HR is as part of a business, not as a separate business. So how does this kind of work for you?
Actually, I am pursuing something that I'm passionate about, which is helping companies set up their people operations that they can grow. So we've heard of fractional CFOs,
right?
Fractional BD teams. My company, Opsana HR, is a fractional HR team. So I work with small and medium-sized businesses that usually are in rapid growth mode. They just got a big client and they need to staff up their people operations. They need to set up their systems in HR and they need to make sure that they're compliant. So what I do is I offer a solution of full service HR at every level, from strategic to tactical, at only the hours that they need to help them get their operations off the ground.
Wow.
Typically, you don't see anybody bringing in full-time HR until about 80 people or so. Sometimes a little bit sooner, sometimes later. But in this instance, I can help them with my 20 years of HR experience set up their operations for success, so that when they do have that rapid growth, they do need to hire quickly. They need to onboard, train, or take a look at performance evaluations. All of that's ready to rock and roll for them. And they don't have to suffer those growing pains, and they get to do it at a fraction of the cost until it's time to bring it in-house.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So how I have so many questions now. So how do you adjust what you do to the different cultures of each company? An IT company is different from a lawn service company versus a construction company versus a restaurant, and they all have different cultures. So how do you take your HR stuff and make it so they get the right people to fit their culture?
That's a great question, Bill. I've had the pleasure of working across multiple verticals and industries. Past 10 years in the tech world, as well as in the federal government world. But I also, especially in defense, Department of Defense, but I worked in construction. I have a degree in hospitality and tourism. I worked in hotels. So from the retail side to the tech side to the manufacturing, logistics side, even the healthcare side, each one is unique. And so when we're taking a look at the small and medium-sized businesses, the founders and the CEOs, I spend time with that CEO. What is their vision? What is their mission statement? What are their business goals over the next 3, 6, 12 months? And what is it that they hope to accomplish? And then let's build that team to help them get there. Let's find those top producers, those most productive people to join the team. Let's set up systems and tools to engage those individuals and give them the tools and resources they need to be successful, and then create a lasting foundation that allows them to grow with the company as the company continues to grow, right? So mine is always focused on the people, but it starts from the top down. What is the leadership? What is their vision? What do they want to build? And then I go out and help them not only get those people, or help them develop those people, right? So there's so many stages to it. It's not a recruiting firm, but I help at every level, no matter what the company needs, from when it comes to HR, from payrolling to recruiting to setting up an HRIS system or identifying compensation packages, like for benefits. So
yeah, that's really important, because it just makes me think, it's like, it's like, I always think of just simple terms like, starting off on the right foot is a common expression. And, to me, if you don't set up like your human capital, your HR services right, you're going to get down the road and you're going to have to rework everything. And that could cause a lot of heartache for you and the people that are already there. And so how do you help people kind of, in a sense, get off on the right foot, put things in place so that, they can get the right kind of employees? Say if something doesn't work out with an employee, there's an easy way to, free up their options, as they say, and make sure it's fair for everybody. How do you kind of sort that out? Is there a template, or is it kind of customized for each kind of business?
It's absolutely customized for each business, depending upon what stage they are in their development and their growth, right? And what their future forecast looks like. Too often, as founders and as business owners, we wing it, right? And we're doing what we can to bring in the revenue to get our company off the ground. And we hope certain things work out, and we hit some failures, and that's okay. And then we learn from those failures. But identifying when is the right time to bring in people to help you lay that foundation, right? And so with helping them identify where they're at, one of the things that I offer in one of the services is called an Opsana report.
Oh, cool.
Right? And that Opsana report is an HR audit. Where are you with compliance and risk? But then not only that audit, what are your gap and risk analysis based upon your people, your systems, what you have in place, and where your growth trajectory is going. And then I build them a roadmap for aligning their people operations, what needs to grow with their business goals, so that they are in step, together, and they grow together.
Right.
So each company is going to be at a different stage, but that Opsana report is the first step in understanding who that company is, where they're going, and what gaps or risks that they currently have, whether it's compliance, whether it's people, whether they have a high turnover, and then what are the steps that we're going to do to help get them on the right path. So this is one thing that they don't have to focus on, because that will allow them to focus on growing their business, right?
Right. Yeah, it sounds very much like, like in the federal system, a lot of times they call, and I don't know if it's the same thing, they call it like a human capital strategy, but it sounds to me a little bit like that.
Absolutely. Whether it's workforce development, human capital strategy, it very much is focused on what do you currently have in place? Where are you going to go? Is your team and your systems going to take you there? What do you need to make sure in place to add or to take away to help you make sure everything's in step to reach your goals as a founder and a business owner?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask maybe a bit of an inflammatory question. I don't know if you've experienced this or not, but I've seen this situation. That's why I want to ask, which is, sometimes, especially founders and small businesses, like they've got a contractor, they've got something, and things are going, and they want to hire these types of people, but what they actually need is these types of people over here to kind of balance them out. I'll give you an example. In the tech industry, this happens all the time. You have someone brilliant, they've made this thing, they're, it works, and everybody's like super excited, but they have, it's their baby, and they don't really know how to sell it good, and what they need is a good business person, but they don't want to give up that control. Have you run in that situation? Do you deal with that kind of thing of like, hey, I know you want to hire more tech people or whatever it may be, but what you really need is these types of people right now?
Every single day. And I am just as guilty of that as they are. As a CEO and as a founder, I run into the same challenges of, this is my baby. Who am I going to bring on that can sell it better than I can, that can perform the service better than I can, that understands the numbers better than I can? I've already admitted defeat on the marketing side, so that one I've at least for some help. But no, it goes back to understanding and working with that founder. What are your goals? What are your strengths? With those strengths, what other strengths do you need to help you achieve those goals?
Nice.
Is it going to be tech, or is it going to be bringing in somebody that's going to secure more contracts? Is it going to be production workers that you need to help produce the tech? Or do you need an accountant to manage all of this in an administrative function? We are blessed with so much technology these days that many of the functions that people held for years, software can do for $10 to $15. It doesn't take in a month versus hiring somebody at a $50,000, $60,000 job.
Right.
I hear, and I've heard it for so many years, well, it's taking away my job. It's not taking away your job. What it's doing is it's creating new opportunities, just like AI is, right? It's creating new opportunities for us to learn something different, to learn how to utilize this new tool and take a company, your career, anything to the next level, right? And so when I work with founders, I help them back off of all of the administrative functions that you can get bogged down in and lost in HR and the compliance. Set up the tools that can do that for you so that you can focus on the strategy of your people. How are you training them? How are you onboarding them? Are you working on performance evaluations? Are you growing your managers, right? And taking it to the next level? What is your succession planning? You know, when you take a look at 10 years down the road, what is your, who on your team, what does that look like? If you lose somebody, it's an entire organization. Every single person is replaceable. But when you have a solid foundation that attracts the best people, that has a great environment for people to come want to work, you created that atmosphere and that opportunity, and that allows you to continue to grow as a company. When you take a look at it, Grace, that's number one. Find the right people, put them on the right seats on the bus, let them do their thing.
Yeah. That's so true, so wise. It's like, and you know what I hear, and I've heard this from a couple of people, and you kind of touched on this a little bit. It's like, when are you going to hire your first AI employee? And I kind of think of it kind of like what you were talking about. It's like, hey, how do I offboard some of this, what I call administrivia, to some AI or other software tools so that my people can do the higher quality type functions,
Absolutely. Like, this is the exciting stuff. For the first time in HR, I never thought I was going to end up in HR. And that was 20 years ago. And look at me now. The policies, the things that are not my favorite, that are time consuming, the compliance factor, the paperwork. Technology does that for us. AI is my personal executive assistant. It is the best executive assistant in the world, and it allows me to utilize my time to focus on the strategy, the training, the hiring the right people, going out and finding them, all of those things, right? And so help companies do that too. Identifying systems, and those systems you mentioned for construction workers that are hourly employees, how you recruit for that group, what kind of systems you need in place are going to look very, very different than for a high-tech organization that is producing, cutting-edge technology And how do you find those people and what tools and systems they need to help them do their job?
Right,
I
right,
mean,
absolutely.
yeah, human resources, and a lot of times we lost sight of it with the paperwork and the compliance and the protecting of the company, is it's all in the job title. Our job is to be a resource to the human beings of an organization to make their lives better, to make the organization a protected place that the company can grow, right?
Right.
So it's title. Let's just remember what our roots are. So HR.
I love that. That's honestly that's the first time I've heard someone sort of describe it that way as human resources is a resource for the employees to grow and to succeed. So that's a great way to kind of approach stuff because opening it up and putting it under that kind of scope opens up so many possibilities. Like hey, here's these tools that you can use to make your job easy, AI assistants or whatever it may be. Here's these types of trainings you can do to do better things. And versus, like a lot of us been subjected to more mandatory type training. It is, knowing what's the training that will help you do your job better and succeed and grow you. That's always an amazing thing to find.
Absolutely. HR, strategic HR, number one job will always be protecting the company, right? Our job is to protect the company. We need to make sure that we have compliance, policies and procedures in place. There are employment laws across every single state that vary federal law. And if you're not protected, those lawsuits will take a company under, right? And so let's get the compliance taken care of immediately. And then we protect that company, not only on the compliance side, but we protect them by helping them bring in the best people to help them create this incredible environment that makes the best people want to stay, grow, bring in their colleagues that are the best people, right? So it will organically do that. But it starts with leadership.
Yes.
With your vision, do what you do best, right? Be the tech guru, the product, the software. Rely on the individuals that can take care of the stuff that is not in your wheelhouse or not your strength to be able to allow you to empower you to continue doing what you're doing.
Right. And here's another one I've heard about recently, and this is especially when you have like a really small, just startup founder type business. Is like sometimes those businesses get venture capital and other types of sort of startup funding, and they may offer their first few employees, instead of a salary, they may offer equity. Do you get involved with that? Because that's got to be some sort of negotiation about that, or is that more of a legal type issue?
It's absolutely a legal type issue. And each situation is different when you take a look at equity, founder, and funding. So as an individual that has been approached for, and I'm not talking about me personally, anybody else, to join an organization to lend their expertise, and if they get a portion of that, they 100%, not only the company, but there's also the individual themselves need to have that legal protection. Right. When you take a look at long-term sustainable growth, does that, or is this kind of a shot in the dark and you're throwing your hat in the ring and see what happens?
Right.
It depends upon what is the vision of the individual, what they're building. Take a look at their long-term goals. What is it that they truly want to accomplish? What is their plan to get there? And can you truly help them get there? Does that return on your investment, whether that investment is your time, your expertise, or your money, are you going to see a return on that investment, right? And that goes with anything. When you bring in fractional HR or business development, is it going to show that you've actually saved money, or you brought in the best people, or
Right.
So everything as a leader and as a founder, we should be taking a look at that. What is the return on our investment? Is it going to help me grow my business? Because at the end of the day, if you're a serious founder, you have long-term plans for your company.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was talking with, I was at a brokers conference that Heather Valeri put together just a month or so ago. And, they were talking about some of the things that you mentioned, like, you need to have an exit strategy. Someday you're going to want to leave or retire, and the other thing they talked about is like, it was a funny thing. And I was like, well, that makes kind of sense, is that you need to have, a lot of founders don't even think about this. You need to set a salary for yourself, because that helps the brokers and everybody else that wants to invest in, okay, here is how the company is laid out. Here's the risk and here's the rewards and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of goes to, I think, what you were talking about, this return on investment.
100%. When we build out business plans, a great resource that we have here in the Charleston market is SCORE.
Right.
Getting with SCORE Mentor. They've got an incredible budget for planning for the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, a great Excel spreadsheet. And it's a great exercise for, would recommend to any founder to say, hey, what are your expenses? What is your investment in yourself and your team? And what are you going to need to be able to create your product, to sell it, and turn a profit down at the bottom, right? HR has typically always been seen as overhead, a necessary cost. What do they bring to the table? Why not change the voice of what HR can do, which is what we can bring in, help you bring in the best revenue generator, the best salespeople, make the best strategies when it comes to people. We can help streamline your costs that come with, having too many clunky systems in there that you feel like you have to buy because somebody sold it to you, or paying for. And in some cases, PEOs are great, right? A PEO is a professional employment organization.
Right.
They offer incredible service, and they offer the administrative function, plus they protect a company.
Right.
But setting up those systems so you can reduce those expenses so you protect that bottom line, right? Every time you turn over an employee, it's 2 times their salary that has just cost you, and lost revenue, and finding somebody else, and training, and getting them back up to speed. And that's just one employee.
Exactly.
So the expenses are huge. When it comes to compliance and being proactive and ahead of the game versus being reactive is how to protect your bottom line every single time.
That's awesome. So have you, I'm gonna change subjects here just to something a little bit more fun. So are you a native Charleston person, or did you move here? And what is it about Charleston that, makes it a great place for your company right now and yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm born in Charleston. Actually, I was born at the old Navy base.
Nice.
A long time ago. And my parents are from Charleston. My whole family is from here, but I grew up on Marine Corps bases, and vacations, holidays, always spent here.
Oh, nice.
So I came back after college for a couple of years, left, and then came back again in 2002.
Very nice.
Yeah, so Opsana HR is actually my second business that I've ever started. The first one was Phillips and Pierce, and I started that in 2011 when I saw what was happening in the Charleston landscape. Okay. Back then in 2010, there was no tech. There was Benefit Focus and Blackbaud.
Right.
But our growth and our technology growth, and I think hopefully I've got this number right, but I believe there was 173 startup tech innovative companies around 2010.
Wow.
But what was projected was rapid growth, higher than the national average.
Right.
as of 2025, we have 1,100 startup companies in tech and in innovation. We are ranked 53rd in mid-sized cities with regards to being the best place for entrepreneurs and startups. My business is geared towards, small and medium-sized businesses in startup and rapid growth mode to help them accelerate and get their company to the next level. Right. So all of those pieces just kind of come together. Our population is growing 3 times the national average rate.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we don't have to say why we all live here in Charleston. The quality of life is just
it's
incredible.
The quality of life. Sunshine and smiles everywhere. I'll ask you also, have you heard the term? So I think I want to say it was College of Charleston. Maybe somebody there coined this term, or maybe it's somebody else. I have to find out, I need to do some fact checking, but they came up with this term called Silicon Harbor because there's so much tech here now, and it's been growing so much since, like you said, since the 2010 or so. Have you heard that before?
Oh, absolutely. That was a big name back in 2010 and 2011.
Okay.
And during that time is when all of this innovation really started to take hold. The Charleston Digital Corridor came around during that time. The Harbor Entrepreneur Center developed during that time. They are, and I'm drawing a blank, but many other organizations, Dig South came in around that time saw that tech was happening. And the Charleston Regional Development Alliance, the Economic Development Group, they all coined Charleston as Silicon Harbor.
Oh, nice.
Right? Back in the day, and College of Charleston may have been the one that started it, absolutely. But our colleges at the time only had 1 or 2 years for a computer science degree. So when you think about that development over the past 15 years, where back then, I don't believe College of Charleston even had a computer science department, and now they've got an amazing one. I love hiring individuals out of there, graduates, and I have in the past. Citadel is one of my favorites. Trident Tech has done an incredible job.
I know. Charleston, I see them everywhere. Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we had a lot of tech boot camps that started up around that time too. So Trident Tech got in the mix, but no, it was an exciting time. But think about 173 tech innovative companies, and now we're at 1,100. 15 years.
And I think it's only growing. We're part of Chucktown Startups, and I see that growing, just leaps and bounds every day. And I'll circle back and echo what you said. SCORE is an amazing resource. I have a SCORE mentor myself for my business, so it's free. I mean, come on, how can you get better than that? It's free, and you have these people who've been in business and are these really wise folks that understand the ins and outs of things and can give you advice about how to make your business better and grow. How can you lose with that, right?
It's amazing. And they actually, SCORE has gotten involved with Chucktown Startups just recently. She started talking to Toby. So this is another wonderful thing about our community in Charleston. People genuinely want to help other individuals. Like, they want to see them succeed. And we are all working. Nobody works in a silo. These groups are all working together. And what Toby put together, and a couple of the founders, such as yourself, and helping out, see the vision of what Chucktown Startups is. I see it as an organization that helps bring all of those wonderful groups together, right? And help us learn from each other, grow from each other, do business with one another. It's an exciting time.
It is very exciting. And, I'm a big fan of the, saying a rising tide floats all ships, so I think that's what we've got going on right now. That it does feel like there's kind of a rising tide. There's this feeling, this energized kind of positive feeling across everybody. Even though as a small business, everybody's struggling, but it's a fun kind of struggle because you're right there with everybody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are, and this is the exciting piece, we all take a leap of faith.
Right.
We left the security of a job, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's terrifying, but like that trailblazing, that risk taking, that following the dreams, like truly, and then being able to see it. It's exciting to be a part of, and it's catching. But how do we make those dreams sustainable, right? And that, I think, is our next challenge. Is let's not just make it a dream or an idea that we go at for a year or 2 years. Like, let's truly make this sustainable. Let's utilize our resources and let's do something amazing with it. Like take our company.
Right. And I love the idea of, like, I got this from a different area, but make yourself stronger so you can help others. And it's a different way to think about it,
Right. No, absolutely. It's like being on an airplane. We all hear it. First thing you do is you put the mask on yourself. And you take care, because then you're able to take care of those around you. If you don't do that, you're less helpful to the people around you because you're the one breathing for air.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, absolutely makes sense.
So, final kind of question here. So, what advice do you have for the entrepreneurs out there in the Charleston area?
Well, I want to say just stay the course. I mean, it gets hard and stressful, but align yourself with people that can truly help you take your business to the next level. Personally, I focus on the when, which is acronym for what is important now, but I'm always focused on my future, right? Laying that foundation. It's what we do with a 401k. Right. We set aside money each time, but we have a solid foundation because we're securing our future. So focus on balancing that, what's important now, but make sure you're laying that foundation so you have that long-term future that brought you into this ecosystem and to our world, in the first place. Right. That would be it.
Awesome. That is awesome, Lesesne. That's great advice. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. And I think a lot of people will find what you're saying is super interesting and super excited to hear about what you're doing with your company. And I hope if you want to, you can come back on some other time, come on the podcast and talk about, if you want to talk about a certain topic or something that you guys are doing with your company. Happy to have you. So thank you so much.
Bill, that would be amazing. Thank you for the opportunity. This has been incredible. So yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you have a great day.
You too.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Lowcountry Revolutionaries. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the fearless entrepreneurs making wave in Charleston's Chucktown Startups community. I'm Bill Ballott, and it's been an honor to share these inspiring stories with you. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a spark of Lowcountry innovation. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.